Welcome to another episode of Making Sense of Politics with me, Kate Carruthers, and
and me, Nancy Georges. Hello, lovely
hello,
Kate.
Nancy.
My favourite thing to do on the planet besides walking my dog.
Oh my God, it is so lovely to see you. It's been so long.
Promise the next one won't be so long because the world, lots going on, huh?
Oh my God, we need to record like daily. There's so much stuff going on.
Well, a lot of the podcasts that we normally listen to, where they sort of have it like twice a week, people are just recording daily overseas, but we've got amazing things happening in Australia we need to talk about too. So let's get into it, babes. Okay, everybody, sit back, relax, enjoy this flight because there's a lot of information here. So since we last met, Kate.
Oh, good times. Seems so long ago though.
Well, it was nearly 2 months ago. Spring has sprung already.
Yeah. He's gone.
It's like he has a softer side. He doesn't. Sorry. Dutton lost his seat, as we all know, and a lot's been happening in Australian politics. But the reason we've put this here, well, I think these are, Kate, you put these in, but for me, looking back at these, catastrophic defeat. Then Labor immediately go into the stouch. Don't even talk about Miles. Is he a Lib dressed as a Labor? Kate?
Oh yeah, I said that last time. Like he should have totally joined the Liberal Party.
Absolutely disgusting. And the thing that I find most disgusting, which is the theme of today, I think, is the fact that they don't hide their bad behaviour, but they hide the things we've got to know. So, yes, they had an immediate stouch. And I just feel like since we last met, we need to remember this. We need to remember this, that while everybody is struggling, that there's poverty, that there's famine in the world, we have people starving to death right now in Gaza. We have people in Australia who can't afford to educate their children. People in America are dying of health issues. In the UK, they can't even drink the water because Gates and Nestle have bought it and said you've got to pay for it. And this is what's happened to these billionaires' wealth. And I think this is outrageous. I know you saw my post this morning. Putting this together today literally raised my blood pressure. So things in the newsroom, Kate. This is what's happening live at 5. So the Libs, have they shown any growth or anything?
No, they haven't. I think they've come to the same conclusion they came to last time they lost an election, that it is in fact the people who are wrong. So they did a review of the last election that they lost. They're doing a review of this one. The same conclusion. The people are wrong, and they're going further right. They're going much, much further right. So they're probably turning properly into MAGA as we speak.
This is interesting because I feel like Labor's going further right too. So I feel like they're not even being centrist really. And I feel like we as a global population are centrist, are moving into the centre more and more. But our politics...
Well, I think people believe more left-wing stuff than they give credit for, which is, when you do that vote compass, a lot of people are shocked to find that their views align with someone like the Greens or something.
It's like when people go, "Oh, you're so woke," and I was like, "Well, do you think that everybody should have equal rights and that nobody should go starving in the country?" Yes. Well, so are you. Sorry, you were saying about Libs being MAGA. I think this is the big thing, that Australia voted this way, yet they're not really changing how they act to make sure we're still avoiding MAGA, is my impression over the last few weeks. And the march last weekend, what the actual...
Well, I think it's so the Liberal Party has had factions forever, and they basically fall into two camps. There's the hard right and the moderates. And since Howard, they've been pushing the moderates out of the party. And Malcolm Turnbull was like the last vestige of moderates in the party. And Susan Ley, the current leader, is like trying to work out how she can get elected again, how they can get elected again. But if they can't appeal to the majority, and they don't appear to be. And this pair are exemplars of the hard right. I think they're going to find it really hard to get re-elected.
Well, I mean, there's bad and there's worse, and they're worse, and our government's bad, but at least they're not worse, hey? Like, it's just, to me, it feels like there's a lot of, there's nothing even, they haven't changed anything even for the perception. Like, the media is treating them the same, they're giving them a lot of puff, but they are losing more and more relevancy. Like, when you speak to Australians who don't really pay attention to politics, they are noticing this behaviour, aren't they? They're not really noticing the stuff that we're going to talk about the government doing, but I do feel like people are going, what the heck's going on with the Libs?
Yeah. Oh, and the Greens. So, we talked about this before, where the Greens dead. Not really. They've literally got the balance of power.
Well,
So, that they will, how they use it will be the interesting thing. And if they're sane, which they are not always sane.
I mean, for me, I like the idea of the Greens. I like the idea of a third party. I've tweeted and Blue Sky posted everybody I can think of to start a third party. Simon Holmes at Court, you can't run. The Australian Institute is doing amazing work. The independents are sharing stuff. There's actual media The Guardian seems to be coming back to truth, not headline. But the Greens just seem to be constantly missing in action. And for me, they've never been a viable party because I saw them as like poster shaking nutbags until a friend of mine joined their party. And he is a really smart, articulate man who just wants good things for the planet and humanity. But again, he didn't get supported and he's not a member anymore. And I don't know, they just can't seem to get out of their own way, can they?
Well, they've always been kind of a strange party. So they've always had a strange bunch of people in them, from the far left Trotskyite, really bolshy people, to the more moderate, Andrew Wish Wilson kinds. And what I've always felt, and this may seem like a weird thing, I've actually felt that the natural allies of the Greens were the Liberals.
Really? Well, you're far wiser than me in these. That's interesting.
And it's because as some of the rusted-on Trotskyite people start to die out, because a lot of them are old in the Greens, people more like Andrew Wish Wilson, so who are a lot more right-wing in their perspectives but don't realise it. And I've always thought that the Liberals should try a coalition with the Greens, but I don't think they're kind of open to it because they see the Greens as the devil.
Well, they're not smart enough, are they, or strategic enough to actually? Could you actually? Do you know? Imagine if they could pull that. But Labor don't even hold coalition with them. I don't get it. I feel.
Well, Labor was scared out of it under Gillard. So I remember saying to some people in the Gillard government back in the day, you should do a proper coalition agreement with the Greens. The other party have their coalition agreement. Why don't you have one? And they got scared out of it. And now they can't because they have this thing where they say, yeah, we're not going to do that. And then because it's a promise, they can't break their promise. So now they're stuck. And the time has passed. Yeah. Like the Greens have moved on, they've moved on. So there's no place yet for it. Anyway, so I don't think the Greens are dead. But it's really interesting. They've got a new leader, Larissa Waters, and I haven't seen her.
I was going to actually say to you, I didn't even know her name. And I watch Australian politics now, as you know. We're missing it. But this is my whole frustration right now. It's like the politicians are ticking along as per usual, right? Business as usual. We're going to just tell you what we want to tell you when we want to tell you. We're going to hide what we want. But it seems like everyday people, global citizens, we understand that we're in the change of times. And I hate, can you help me find a new term? Not New World Order, because that sort of has, terrible connotations. But I feel like everybody is, in the next 3-5 years, everything's going to be undone and put back together again as it should have been. Yet politicians are operating as business as usual. I don't see that disconnect. And why hasn't the Greens come out and been stomping? I have noticed a lot of the independents, but I have not noticed any of the Greens.
Well, I think it's partly a feature of our media landscape, which is, as you know, apart from the Guardian and all the independents, mostly right wing. So they don't want to give the Greens any airplay. So Larissa Walters may well be putting out media releases like they used to do. So in the olden days, you'd put out a media release, it'd get picked up, people would talk to you. And that kind of model's broken now. So I know this is something we were talking about last time, is I don't think the politicians have got their head around the new world of media, and they haven't understood that the old world of traditional news media is kind of dead. And the number of people that get their news from the news media, the traditional, Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10 news, plus, the Sydney Morning Herald, the Australian, is diminishingly small and dying every day, like literally dying every day. And they aren't understanding that younger people are getting their news on Instagram and TikTok, and they haven't started to get their head around how to interact with those kind of news media sources, and haven't worked out how to connect. So they haven't realised the old world's dead, the new world's emerged, but they're stuck in between.
Well, I think also too, fundamentally, it shows you that they are not communicators. Because if you were a true communicator, you would jump on the platform and get it, right? Inherently want to connect, like we do, which is how we actually connected. But I feel like it's just, and you look at what Newsom is doing overseas, which we will talk about another day because we've got so much stuff to talk about today. But you look at how he's doing it and the mastery of what's happening there. And finally, all the actual factual truth and talking that people have, that is not sort of penetrated, is now penetrating because they met them where they are. And I think that's really concerning that we seem to have a lot of politicians. Again, well, I'm a fan of the independents, but they're not also, the be all and end all, but they communicate multiple times a day. They update you on what they're going to be putting through legislation. They update you on issues. They give their opinion. They share information. You really feel like someday, I've just been a little bit sort of here, there and everywhere with work and life at the moment. And I don't ever go to the news pages anymore. I go straight to, mind you, I hate that I've got to go into Instagram. Like I feel like it should be on their pages, but another story, or on YouTube or on their Substack or something. But I go on and then all of a sudden I find all these great, Australian news in a snapshot nearly. And I'll go and to be honest, I do check your Blue Sky feed as well. But but you know what I mean? Like I don't ever go onto the news media to find out what's happening because that's not truthful. But it'll be, for me, it's definitely one to watch, right? Like this is just something that is the next person that's going to be in government, or the next party, the party that actually understands how to talk to Australians.
Well, it's going to be interesting, and I think that'll be an interesting. I love that these guys died. They're gone. Thank you. Goodbye. We loved hating you.
And in America, he would have probably been president, right? With all that money spent. Like that's the thing that gives me hope about Australia, is that we actually, despite all your money, your rat bag, you know what, you didn't win. Woohoo!
Yeah. That's
oh, there you go. Thing. Yeah. So here's interesting. So we actually should, we started to talk about this as a whole topic, and I think we should do, because this is an intricate web, isn't it? Advance. We've got now Palantir interfering, or not interfering, Palantir are documenting things that they shouldn't be documenting globally. We've got BlackRock, and I think Advance. I don't think, again, like you said, of course, are we going to wait for media to expose this? No.
I think it's important not to conflate companies like Palantir that do stuff for money. So they collect data on people for money at the behest of governments, typically.
Yeah.
and law
Yeah.
enforcement. So that's their job. That's how they make money. And BlackRock are just an investment firm. So they just do things to make money. They don't really care how they make money, but their clients want to make money, so they do it. Advance is a completely different thing. This is a vehicle that's been set up by right-wing forces, global right-wing forces, and having money funneled into it from people who've made money from investing in Palantir and BlackRock and stuff, who are billionaires, but they've funded things like Advance to actually interfere with the politics and social media and news media of a country. So that's been funded by money that people have made from investing, typically, to interfere with our political outcomes in Australia. So Advance is a vehicle for right-wing interests.
And it's hidden.
Well, it's out in the open, but the news media don't talk about it because, for the most part, the news media here is right-wing, and they just take their news releases and publish them because they're basically stenographers for the right wings.
You and I know about Advance, and anybody who actually looks into it, but the everyday Australian doesn't, because it gets amplified and magnified, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think what probably would be worth doing some sort of deep dive into how these kind of operations work.
I think so too.
Yeah,
because I think when you see it all mapped out, and you see like what they say to what they, what they actually are doing, I think it's a really good way to be able to also share. Because I'm finding this is an interesting thing. I'm finding a lot of people I speak to, or people send me links that are just not true. Like that. It's just all you need to do is look at 3 or 4 different sources and you figure it out. But people are being fooled by things that are being portrayed as true. And then when you sort of tell them, they're like, well, how do I do that? Or they get a bit embarrassed, or they, or thank you for, hey, I'm going to look into this because I realize I don't know what I know. But I feel like we need to have something to share and show. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the current government at the moment and what they are and are not sharing with us. Oh, wait, I've missed it. Oh, no.
I just hit a couple of slides because we're running out of time.
Thank you. Thanks, Kate. So vaccination now is vaccination production secret deal, $2 billion deal that we know nothing about, that the government's not sharing, the government's not telling us information about. This is something that is really concerning to me. And I heard somebody saying yesterday that Albo is the most secretive PM since Scott Morrison, who is the most secretive PM, which is disgraceful. So this is an interesting thing of, well, we want to manufacture here, but what is the $2 billion secret deal? What do Moderna get? And what do Australians miss out on? Basically, is right, isn't it?
Yeah. Look, and these are the kinds of things that, it had its origins with Morrison, so we know it's dodgy. But it's kind of worrying that the Albo government is trying to pursue it. And I'm really glad that Monique Ryan has been talking about this, because I just think that these things need to be transparent.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we absolutely need in Australia is our own sovereign capability to produce vaccines, because we saw what happens when you don't have it during the COVID epidemic.
Yeah. Well, I think I said to you, my dad, who died in 2003, was an industrial chemist, and he said back then that we were in for a global pandemic. It's coming. So when it actually happened, I was shocked how little had been spent preparing the Australian health system, the Australian industry in this. It's just disgraceful. And I think it's shown us a lot of things that we really need to make sure don't happen again. Here's another great
secrets seem to be a theme today,
don't they? Transparency is not what the government is up for. I'm shocked about this. I know I shouldn't be shocked. I'm probably not surprised, because politicians, go figure, but I'm shocked that they are so blatant, and I'm shocked that he's so emboldened, Albanese, because Albanese did not win the election. The Libs lost. Albanese did not win. So the fact that he thinks it's a mandate to...
Oh, but Nancy, you never go wrong betting on the Australian population's support for anything that is against immigration and is bad for refugees.
Sadly,
so this
Kate.
is a winner for them. This will be a
Yeah.
vote winner for them, not a net loss for them, I suspect.
It's disgusting. Well, but the thing is, okay, so disclose it. I saw him, Patricia Caravellas was like, could we have the details? He said, the Nauru government, we'll discuss this with the Nauru government. She said, well, can we have the details? And he said, we'll discuss this with the Nauru government. And it was just, he just doesn't feel the need to be transparent. So this is a really, $408 million. What else could we do?
I just thought it was hilarious that the coalition, who would typically support this kind of thing, referred it because they didn't think of it themselves. I mean, I think it's egregious that they're sending $408 million to Nauru. I mean, it's nice for Nauru. They don't have any other way to make money, so it's good for them. But on a per capita basis, it's like 200 criminal non-citizens. How many dollars is that per citizen, non-citizen?
20 million?
That's quite a lot
million
of money.
Full?
Couldn't we find something cheaper to do with them?
Give them a business class ticket back to any country in the world that they want to go to.
Yeah.
That's not even what it presents. It's disgusting. The other really interesting thing, looking at, so we've got Monique Ryan on one side, and then we've got David Pocock. I love this reel, and I'll share all the reels from our Prezzo into our socials and on our page as well. So, and in the notes, I'm making up a note sheet if people want to see them in full. But this is really interesting because David Pocock has come out and he said all the things that and he's literally looking at the PM when he's saying this, and he's saying, why are you hiding this? What are you hiding? Australian people deserve to know what you are doing. And he's actually holding a town hall on the 16th of September in Canberra, which will be talking about transparency in government. So if Albanese thinks this is going to go away, I don't feel like it is.
Well, it's really good that he's still in Parliament and he's still able to ask these questions, It shows the utility of these independents.
Yep, for sure. And then what about this little bit of and what's this, the fifth story on what isn't the government telling us? This to me so we're paying to access information which is now free to be accessed. Is this right?
FOI so freedom of information, there have been fees associated with it. It's like the finding the information, and I've got friends that have fundraised to ask questions and make FOI applications, but they're actually going to make it actually harder to gain access to the documents, so this is just more about the secrecy stuff. And if they get this through, some of the stuff that under the previous government, like robo-debt, we wouldn't be able to find out information about that.
And so we won't be able to find it at all, or it will cost more money to find?
No, they actually want to prevent people from gaining access to documents that are related to government deliberations. So if the government is thinking about something like robo-debt and having conversations and emails and stuff, in the past you could FOI those conversations that they were having, so the emails and stuff, and now you can't. They're proposing that you wouldn't be able to get access to that if it was considered to be government deliberations. So just putting it in the context of robo-debt, which everybody agrees was egregious.
Yeah.
If that was happening now under this proposal, you wouldn't be able to get access to that information.
And I mean, didn't he come out against robo-debt at the time? It'll never happen.
Yeah, but they were only against it because it was the other mob, not because they were against it in principle, I think.
I find this absolutely disgusting. I find it disgusting. I find they're no different to the Libs, are they?
Well, and this one is really interesting. So
should have numbered them. Number 6.
Yeah, quite a lot. So this one was interesting because it was reported that the government was not going to release this information. So they had this alleged shock climate report, which will tell what's going to happen to the economy before 2035 due to climate, which we kind of need to know. And they've just come out in the last day or so and said they're going to release it, and they're going to release it before they release their new climate reduction targets, emissions reduction targets. But I think, that was largely due to pressure. But I don't think they were going to release it.
I don't even see. I think this is the other part of the conversation, isn't it? Not just what they're saying. It's like, why are they doing this? They don't want to release it. Why? Like, don't we have the right to know? This all comes down. Also, this all comes down to the duty of care for me. Your duty of care is Australians.
Yeah, and we've already got findings from the court, from the High Court, that the government doesn't owe a duty of care to any of its citizens.
I don't even understand that. So what are they? They've just got to look after their own interests. The whole thing is just revoltingly corrupt, isn't it? This is an interesting duty of care. I mean,
it's not corrupt, because corruption indicates that they were colluding to do it. So the court has made a judgment based on the facts. So the way the High Court works is they consider the facts put in front of them and make an assessment based on the previous common law and the facts, and then they'll make a judgment. So and the government got a favourable judgment when they were found not to have a duty of care to citizens.
Yeah.
It just doesn't sit well with me that a government cannot have a duty of care to its citizens. So that's a kind of troubling thing. Now, it's within the power of the government to actually legislate that they have a duty of care, or to put it into some kind of human rights charter or something legislative.
Yeah.
That they do, but they're not going to, because why would they?
Sorry, you're right. It's not correct. It's absolutely unethical and immoral, I think. Yeah. It's like when you know that a cup's going to fall on the floor around a child, you move the cup before it falls on the floor, right? Well, they're just smashing every cup on the floor next to a kid. Like, it's just insane. And I think, I don't know, are e-bikes an issue around your place? They are a constant issue around our place. People
No, there's not enough people near my place. My brother, though, they're on the Gold Coast, and they are totally an issue with them up on the Gold Coast.
It's just, around Bondi, they are insane. Surrey Hills have nearly been run over. But it's just, yes, writing them, how they get dumped. Again, they are data companies. They are not about giving people bikes and access. That's the whole fallacy of it all. But they're also not regulated.
Let's unpack this, because this goes to, because we're kind of conflating levels of government. What we were talking about just a moment ago was about the federal government and the High Court saying they don't have a duty of care to any citizens. These are a local council issue.
Yeah.
So these are something for your local council to care about. And different local councils can take different actions in respect of them, and have. So, for a long time in Brisbane, e-bikes and e-scooters were banned. Now they've been unbanned, and, every kid under the age of 18 has an e-bike now that they ride around really unsafely on footpaths. So it's really interesting to think about how the different parts of government play into this. And it's important to work out, because we have the different levels of government, which part of government is responsible for this. So this is really a state government and local government issue.
Yeah.
So the state government, because they do licensing, so they're the one who give you your driver's license, your motorbike license, whatever. So that's their role. They set the road rules for the state.
Yeah.
And the local council, because they're the ones that determine what we can do in our local neighbourhoods.
For 23 million people, it's insane, isn't it? E-bikes need regulation. Artificial intelligence needs regulation. We need a roundabout at the top of our street, but where we want to put it is literally where state government take over, not local council. And I can't even tell you the absolute waste of time. 23 million people, or 28 million, we do not need this level of regulation. It should be a global this needs regulation, regulate it. Don't you think? Like, figure out the licensing bit. Of course they need to be licensed. But yesterday I drove behind two kids. They would have, I don't know, early high school, 12, 13, two boys, coming back from school, helmets on. That was one good thing, on e-bikes. They were driving in front of me on the road. It was school traffic, so it wasn't like fast moving, but it wasn't slow moving. And then one of them thought he'd be really clever and go back onto one wheel. And he wouldn't have even, you know.
You can't legislate against boys being stupid.
No, but they're not licensed either to be on the road. So they were happily driving in and out and weaving in and out. They held on to a bus. Like, it's just because they can, because there is no regulation.
Because they're boys, they're young boys, and they don't think they're ever going to die. It's the nature of young boys. So
correct.
We can't legislate against that.
I'm not saying about that. I'm saying this, the fact that they aren't just a recreational vehicle, that they are any bike really. It's not just e-bikes, but because they can go so much faster, they really need attention. I mean, how many more people have to die on them before they get proper attention? That's what I just find it all.
Yeah.
You know, but yes, and the level of government, like, that's a whole other talk for another day. But this is this one I found very interesting. So in the EU, now I do not use gel because, I mean, to me it always seemed like a really unhealthy thing to use. But gel nail polish has been banned. I mean, this is a big thing because globally women use gel nail polish and it's, you know, lasts a long time, blah blah blah, because of, you know, it's plastic. But the thing I found very interesting about this is that people in America and Australia have gone, hey, what about us? People in the EU have been annoyed because there's no notice. They literally went, as of the 1st of September, you've got to get it out. That's how toxic it is. But you would think that then we have the same situation in Australia, don't you think? That, oh, look at that. That's not healthy. Let's protect women, but we don't. And the thing I really liked about the Inkle, I don't know if I'm saying that properly, the story on the right. So you look at the Daily Mail, right? Banned over health concerns. Good, true enough. The thing I really liked about this one is on the right. It says, Europe bans toxic gel nail ingredient over cancer and fertility fears, and asks, what are the safer alternatives? Now, isn't that a great balanced, isn't this how everything should be tackled? This is not healthy. We know you really like it. What else can you use? I really liked that. And on the front page, insane.
Well, Inkle is a startup and they aggregate news. So, you know, they're able to bring in a lot of different news stories against that one. So they've obviously got like the Daily Mail story, but they can bring in different sources because they're an aggregator. They're a really good product. I was part of their early days launch user group.
Of course you were. Well, they're going to be one of my favorite go-tos now. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it.
Way to get a bunch of different news at a very low cost. So, you know,
I like it. And I think
like them.
This is interesting, right? Isn't this a little bit like a bit of media literacy as well? Like looking at the old news, looking at the new way that news. I do believe this is how we will consume. I do have a very optimistic view of the future, just not today. And here's another duty of care. Where the hell are you? Environmental responsibility. So on one side, we've got Albanese paying, sorry, I've lost track. Is it $40 million to the salmon industry in Tasmania?
So much. I don't know, but yeah I think it's the dodgiest industry in Australia. And that's saying something because we've got some really dodgy industries.
We have fossil fuel. Well, 60 jobs, $40 million. And killing the water in the area, environmentally decimating the area. And then we've got Norway cultivating large seaweed farms. Oh, sorry, my hands. Seaweed farms to absorb atmospheric CO2 while developing renewable biofuels.
I know. Norway, look, they're an evil fossil fuel creator, but at least they're putting it all in their sovereign wealth fund and doing things with seaweed instead of poisoning the ocean with salmon.
But I mean, this is truly it, isn't it? If you can, you should. I feel like that should be a T-shirt. What do you think?
Yeah, something like that.
Albo, if you can, you should. So here's the thing. So, okay, this is the Inkle page. this is rubbish. What can we do? So taking action, people power, because we need to be a bit balanced and a bit proactive. And I think it's great that we can share some of this sort of stuff. So if you don't follow Punter's Politics or you've not had a look, he's an ex-teacher. Of course, the minute I read that, it made sense. All of his material is so good. So he believes that we, the punters, should have our own lobby group for politicians, and he's creating that space. He's been going to events.
I love him on TikTok. He's very funny.
He's just on on everything. He's really good. And did you see he did with Gary Stevenson, the UK, the one that we love, the economic guy. They did a podcast together, and it was just brilliant. It was really, really clever. And what he's done is
I think though that his pricing thing was very confusing.
I think he's trying to be clever. See, this is where our marketing hats put in.
I'm sorry. It was just like, what? No. Anyway, it was very confusing. He's very funny and very on point, I think.
Well, I think he's making the point that if you wanted to access politicians normally at a lobbyist dinner, you'd be paying $15,000. But because it's his group, they're going to be $99. He's giving a big discount. It's funny, when you buy the tickets, you get the discount. So their tickets are $99, but if you want to help somebody out who might not be able to afford a ticket that wants to go to this, you can then also buy help a punt out. Or no, you can buy that and somebody else will subsidise. I don't know.
It's very confusing. I'm just saying, I can't work it out. Better people than me have tried. Anyway, he's good value. He is good value, and it's worth checking out.
It's very good value. And we're hoping to get down there, aren't we, for this first ever, because we want to put our money where our mouth is. And talking about change, and I think this is the big thing of where to get started. This is how I got started, because I'm very newbie to this, and you're very experienced in this because you lived in this world. But for me, I listen, learn, join, and act. Like, that's my sort of order of things. And you look at people like the Australian Institute, who have always been pretty good, but I really think what they're doing now is quite excellent, isn't it? The way they're communicating, the platforms that they're on, the information they're sharing, they're making it very bite-sized, not using big words. And I love the integration of people
they know lots of big words. They're just making it accessible, which is really great to see.
Well, they don't feel like they need to flex any muscle, Dems in the US. They just want to connect with people. It's wonderful to see. And I love that, the independents, or the community independents, are sort of really, there's not this boundary of, oh, that's you, oh, that's me, oh, you're over there, Punters Politics, we're over here in this party. There really is integration for change. So I think that's really important. And so in our newsroom for UK, again, a lot is happening in the UK, which we really should talk about too, but there's a lot of turmoil there. But this was interesting, Kate. What do you think?
I love it. I think they should have a say.
Yeah.
Just think, if 16-year-olds had a vote in Brexit, it probably wouldn't have happened, because it was about their future.
Yeah.
I think this is really interesting. And the problem that the UK's got, though, is they've done this really innovative thing in giving 16-year-olds a voice, but they've got Starmer, who's very underwhelming and completely feckless. So Labor got voted in with a huge mandate, and Starmer is the leader, and he's there going, oh, look, everything's basically all right, when the vote was basically everybody going, no, it's not. We need a step change. We need to do something radically different. Because, and Starmer's there just going, we just need to tweak things a bit and everything will go back to normal. And it's not going back to normal. So I don't think he's confronted the reality of the United Kingdom in 2025. So it's interesting that he's done this, and it'll be interesting to see what happens next time. Like, they should be reforming their first past the post voting. They should be revisiting, proportional representation, all of that stuff with that mandate that they've got, and yet they're tinkering around the edges. Anyway, so I think it'd be really good to have a deep dive into the UK and maybe even get somebody on who knows more about it than both of us.
I think that's a really good idea, because I think there's a lot of people. I mean, we've got family. Jason's English, so we've got family there, and I really do despair so much. I don't know even if they have the skill set, even though so many people who've left politics have the skill set. It doesn't seem to be in the party. It's just, yeah, I think it's definitely one to watch. When you do have a mandate like that, you really need to go hard or go home, because people are now going, you know what? They had the chance. We're going to vote for reform.
I've still got Farage's PM on my bingo card. It can happen.
Please, Kate.
It's going to happen.
I feel like it will happen too. I'm just not happy about it.
Look, they need to go through it. It was really interesting, though. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they were a very senior CEO type person who earned exceptionally good money, and they could not get a bank loan for a house in the UK. Really? And they had to get letters of guarantee from the company that they worked for. So this is part of the brokenness in the UK. The 2008 global financial crisis basically broke all the banks in the UK, and it's really hard to get a loan now. So here you can just get a personal loan. All of these lending opportunities are available. There it's not as available. And it was just astonishing to have this C-level person who was on seriously good money not be able to get a loan to buy a house.
What a disgrace. And I should have put the rest is politics in our media recommendations for the UK, and I didn't. But Rory and I can't remember the other gentleman's name. What's his name?
Alistair Campbell.
Alistair Campbell. I love Alistair. They were talking about how when the GFC hit, that in the UK, the government didn't bail out the banks and didn't get banking back on board, and they went straight into austerity. So they didn't fix the banks. They didn't put money in the economy, and they're paying for it now because there is no growth or stimulation, and the system is still broken. Whereas other countries did invest in that banking. And I thought that was, for me, who didn't really ever I didn't pay attention then, that was a really great way to explain.
Well, and the other thing is that the UK economy is kind of there's a lot of money going through it, but not stopping there.
Yes.
So there's not much money going into the economy and staying there and traversing out through the economy. Yeah. So any money that comes in literally goes out to China, Singapore, Europe. So there's not a lot of funding for startups and innovation in that jurisdiction. And it's really funny because one of the startups that I worked with, they've been looking at where they incorporate, and they've decided not to incorporate in the UK now because they're not part of the EU. So they've decided in other jurisdictions because the UK is just not an attractive economy to be based in.
Well, after Brexit, it was such a mess. So many English companies had to leave the country.
Yeah,
because the paperwork, customs, it was all just such a, look, they're looking at then rejoining in a way, like rejoining light to soften the blow to rejoining eventually, I think. But they need to do something. And the EU is acting like a union now, which is a good byproduct of a bad situation. But I just fear for England because you can't, it's so hopeless. I told you we've got a young 23-year-old who's just moved to Australia and wanting to get his permanent residency here. And he said, you come here and the opportunities are endless. At home, you're lucky to have one opportunity. And that's he's 23 now. But, for a 23-year-old to think that, when you're 23, the world is your oyster. But in the UK, it's very, very different. So I feel like enabling them. They're very informed, I think, as kids go these days. So I think kids are our future, truly, aren't they?
It'll be really interesting to watch what happens. Oh, yes, our campaign.
Don't forget to sign this. I'll be sharing this again. And this is part of our ACT, intrusive advertising. We're going to have another election in the distant future, in the not too distant future, who knows? But we don't want those rubbish texts. So please sign it and share it, and let's get proactive. So let's watch this space for these news. So I do believe that animals should have rights. And as you know, as a relatively new dog owner, I love my boy, but I also think it's disgraceful that animals don't have protection as a living being. So yay Mexico, bravo, we should need to do this here.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Animals are sentient and they deserve rights and protections. It's partly complicated by the fact that we do like to eat some of them, but I just want the ones I eat to have had a happy, free life before I eat them.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I think this goes to the fact of cruelty. If we act from a place of cruelty against animals, then you understand how we've done this to the human race, you know? So I agree with you. I don't understand why it can't be ethical, because it is in other places. And there are so many great farmers who do that. So, but we just need to make sure that the people who aren't doing the right thing are so punished.
Yeah.
This is another thing. I am shocked how boring Sydney City is. And we've had visitors from overseas, and you can only spend so much time around the harbour, right? Like, especially in winter. But to go out at night, or our nightlife is gone. And I thought this was a really interesting thing. And this is something I'd like to explore.
Gladys killed it. Literally, Gladys had the fun police out killing all of it before COVID.
Well, it was the young guy who sadly died of the one punch hit. When that happened, you remember they shut down the cross and
it was the fun police. I remember. So, like, all the live entertainment died, and then COVID hit it too. So it was a double whammy.
But what city of Sydney? What's her name? Clover Moore.
Clover Moore.
She nailed the coffin shut. That one. It's even. I mean, Oxford Street is another one. Yes, our old favourite pubs are still there, but everything else is it's depressing. Like I used to, you used to be able to go.
Where are the games gone? Like, where are they gone?
It's just, I think it really is. I mean, lucky we have the harbour, but that we can't really rest our laurels. So I do feel, and I know there's a lot of, locally we've all been sort of chatting about this as well. So I definitely think this is something we need to watch and change. I am thinking that the whole gambling is not entertainment, is it, Kate? Going to the casino?
No. Well, the thing that I think about this though is that we want to think about what kind of place we want to live in. And I think a lot of this has been driven by the NIMBYs, like all the people in Potts Point who started complaining about King's Cross when King's Cross had been there forever, but suddenly they wanted King's Cross to be quiet.
Yeah.
So that kind of NIMBY stuff is so prevalent now. And I think that's been a big thing, because when Gladys and Clover started to shut down all the entertainment, it was they were really supported by all the NIMBYs who didn't want noise, because they were now living in those places that historically been places of entertainment.
Well, the Annandale, we had our warehouse with Paper Magnolia across the road from the Annandale Hotel. Institution, Jimmy Barnes, every Australian band played there. It was a band pub. And I know our landlord had moved into the area, bought the building, so they lived above and we had space below, and it was across the road. And I think they were sort of like the last person to complain, and then the council moved in. And we kept saying to everybody, but you moved here. That was there when you came. Yeah. Like, what did you think was going to happen? But interestingly, I don't know if they've actually done it or if they're talking about Paddington, that if you now move into the area around a pub or around a restaurant or whatever, you can't complain about the noise, because you moved in there knowingly. So I hope that becomes the norm.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'll check that. Stay tuned. But yeah, it's just insane.
It's a good rule, because, otherwise you change the character of the area. And this is the result.
It's also about taking responsibility for your act. You moved there, suck it up. If you don't want to be next to noise.
I'll be interested. With the new Nancy Bird Walton International Airport, so the Western Sydney Airport, It's got no curfew. And all the people around are now starting to go, oh, there's going to be aircraft noise. And it was like, Badgerys Creek was earmarked for that since I was born.
Yeah.
It's been around forever. Like, you can't complain. You bought into this area knowing it was going to be there. Well, it'll be interesting to see if they have tried to get a curfew, because that airport is predicated on 24/7 running.
But I think a lot of people, again, they wouldn't have been told. Real estate agents wouldn't have told them. wouldn't have been on anything unless they were informed and inquiring. I bet you 100% people don't know that, or they didn't know when they bought it.
Anyway, that airport is literally, the economics of it are predicated on it running 24/7 to get all of our freight into the country.
Which is why it's out there, right?
I know.
And then they built around it.
It's fine for me.
So this is another one to watch. I touched on this before. We need to legislate. We desperately need legislation around AI. I don't think saying 16-year-olds shouldn't be on YouTube, we're going to stop anybody under 16. I think that's, again, like cleaning the garbage bin, but still chucking the kid in the clean garbage bin with the garbage, because it's still garbage. The garbage is out there. So I think the onus, again, responsibility should be making sure that the rubbish and all these things are not harmful.
This is also not just kids. The emerging dangers of AI, particularly generative AI, so this is tools like ChatGPT and things like that, where people are actually forming relationships with these tools, and they're very honed in to have dialogue with you. So the deeper you go in, the further they go into it. And people are actually falling in love with it. And there was a hilarious thing recently, and a number of people have been encouraged to actually kill themselves as a result of these interactions with AI, various AI products.
Yeah.
But when ChatGPT brought out version 5 recently, it changed the way it interacted with people, and a whole lot of people found that their favorite companion was now had a different voice and a different way of talking to them, and they arced up, and OpenAI actually had to reset it so that they got their favorite companion back, so they got version 4 back. So people felt so strongly attached to this version and the way it spoke to them that it was like they'd lost a friend or a lover.
I mean, do you know, but Kate, you and I, we understand that this is the situation. We understand that manipulation is, they want people to be addicted to it and to use it. Like, that's the whole end game. So knowing all of that, and for the government not to have put safeguards in years before now, or last year, or this year, to me is criminal. It is sanctioning the fact that people are being duped like this. Like, it's just, you know, and did you see the robotics? China have now amped up production of what do they call them? Humanoid robots.
Yeah,
and look, they'll be.
Nancy, governments haven't had any understanding of this, and even experts in the field. This field is moving so fast. So I do this for a living.
Yeah,
so I work with AI for a living, and stuff gets invented. I check stuff in the morning, and then I go into meetings, and I come out at lunchtime, and new stuff's been invented while I was in meetings.
Yeah.
So it's moving very fast. Governments are not very good at getting on top of technology in general. So, you know, they're still trying to get on top of social media, which was invented in the early 2000s.
Or on top of Google.
It's like they haven't got on top of that yet. You know, social media, hardly new.
Yeah.
And AI is new, and they're not understanding the way people are dealing with it. And the other thing that probably is going to be really interesting on top of this is that AI is going to take out a number of jobs.
Yes.
And the other thing is companies are going to use AI as an excuse to get rid of jobs when AI is not the cause of the job losses. We've already seen that with a major Australian bank and a major Australian software company, where they blamed AI, but the bank was going to outsource their jobs to India, which is a lower cost jurisdiction. And in the software company, it was a failed product that they didn't want to acknowledge, and they just got rid of the jobs. So we're going to see AI being used as the blame. We'll blame AI for a bunch of stuff, and then AI causing genuine harms to a number of people, like in this instance. And the government does need to regulate. But the problem you've got is the same problem we've got with Facebook. It's really hard to regulate Facebook because they go, we don't care about your laws. You're Australia. You're so tiny. Legislate. See if we care. Or the Facebook way of doing business in Europe, where they do legislate against them, is they just pay the fine because it's just a cost of doing business because they make so much money globally. So Facebook's mode of operation in Europe is we'll just do what we want and pay your fines.
But I think this is where, again, before Trump came in, the EU was about to put the law, have much tougher laws around social media content aimed directly at sort of, I suppose, Meta, which then, of course, went away with the $40 million donation or however much he gave. But I feel like you're right. I think it needs to be a global, at least globally, to make impact. But I also think the Australian government needs to get tooled up, right? It's like, it's not going away. It's going to get worse. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get more unmanageable.
The problem with the Australian government is they ask the same 5 experts every time anything to do with AI. I know them all. They're lovely human beings, but they are not the entire universe of people who know stuff about AI, and they need to get some more diversity into the people that they're talking to.
Well, can they talk to you? Can we lobby to get them to talk to you? I mean, look, what about this mum?
There's a number of people that they should be talking to, and it's really interesting that they just go to the same people because they know them, they're comfortable with them, safe hands. But a lot of them are academics, and the real challenge you have with academics is they don't have experience of implementing this stuff in the real world. They don't have the commercial imperatives and all of those things that you have outside of academia. So that's part of the problem, is they keep going to academics for advice, and it's well and good, and they're genuine experts in their fields, but they don't have that real life experience of implementing it in a corporate context.
And again, that's exactly as I was saying before, or we've been saying for a while, you can't keep relying on these historical ways of doing things because it's a different world, isn't it? I mean, this woman here, scrolling to death on, this is on Insta, but I think she's across TikTok as well. She does amazing work in sharing the news and sharing the info. And she's a mum. Like, surely somebody is a mum in government or a dad who, it's not, we don't even need to have that level of, investigative.
But Nancy, we've already established that the federal government doesn't have a duty of care to its citizens. So why would they?
That's right. The Supreme Court said. Honestly, I think I will have a heart attack before the end of this podcast. But here's another thing around devices, right? So again, this is a stay tuned, and I'll just touch on this really quickly. I'm sorry I can't remember this gentleman's name, and I do follow him on socials. I'll make sure to update. And he, this is a really interesting thing because for me, this is really hard to do. And I have been consciously doing this, putting down my phone. I don't listen to podcasts or watch my screen when I'm walking Herbie because I want to be present with him, and I want to be present somewhere that's not sort of connected. But this idea of the fact that people can't put their phones and devices down, to me, is very concerning.
I know. I actually see parents wheeling prams with the phone, and they're not even looking where they're going. It's just astonishing.
And the dog. Don't forget they've got the pram, the kid, and a dog tied to them with the phone. Yeah, it's horrific. And I think, again, too, this is this whole thing around, it's going back again, isn't it? It's like we spend all this money on mental health because mental health's a problem, and this is a cause. So, again, we have regulation about seatbelt, and we have some serious fines around seatbelts,
where's the personal agency in this? Like, people have free will. People are choosing to do this. They could choose to do something different. Here is some advice.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we were asking the government to regulate everything, and that's not sensible.
No. This one I'm not saying about regulating time. It's about that awareness of the devices are not healthy. And that's not a discussion that is being had on any bigger platform. But it is amongst people and amongst psychologists and amongst doctors. But it needs to be a bigger conversation.
One of the best things I've seen friends of mine with children do, and it's the parents and the kids, is they have a lockbox and they all put their phones in, and then they all eat dinner together, or they all go and do something, play a board game or something. Yeah. But everyone puts their phone in the box, because what often you see is parents saying, don't use your phone, but the parents on their phone. So I think that thing where everyone puts their phone in a box, we lock it up, we do something together as a family is a really good way of doing it.
I was listening actually to, and I will share this because I really like this, and I meant to put it in around Scott I know it's not your favorite. Scott Galloway was talking to Era Perez, and she's an amazing psychologist, and she was saying around gamification, she's created these games and around time, non-screen time, and if you want to connect, actually, you know, take your kids and have an activity with them, and the idea about community where, you know, we used to have family that we visited, or church groups, or, you know, things that we did regularly, that communities reinforced values, the same values. And now when you say to a kid, do you want to go see grandparents, and they go, nah, don't want to, instead of saying, okay, then you really have to, this is the right thing to do, which is good behavior, parents are going, all right, then if you don't want to go. And they're saying this is part of this disconnected community. And this is one of the things she said around, if we don't understand community, then we don't value things like democracy, not even just mental health. And I thought that was such an interesting, because it really is all so enmeshed, isn't it?
And that's one of the interesting things that I think in America, because they've broken down all notion of community, of common goods, of communal activity.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting with that Democrat candidate for mayor in New York City, Zoran Mamdani. And he had that scavenger hunt, just impromptu, no notice, just on the weekend, let's have a scavenger hunt. And all these people came together, and it was very orderly and very nice and very communal. And I think, you know, those sort of things, like our politicians might be inspired by that.
I love, you know, we actually talked about doing it here over Christmas. Like, it's just such a cool thing to do. But even when they put, you know, when you see artists that put hopscotch squares just in chalk on the beach or on a footpath or in a park, and people just engage, because I do, like, I really understand and see that people are really, really craving high touch activity. They want to talk, they want to connect, they want to meet, they want to do things with other people, because they're feeling very disconnected. And even if it's not a conscious thing, when you are presented with things like that, you naturally go, oh my God, fantastic, because it does hark. We are fundamentally animals who want to stay with our pack. It was interesting watching that scavenger hunt, Kate, on social, people sharing it. Hey, have you seen this? Let's do it. Oh my God, it's like we did it at, you know, college, and it was very, very cool. But I loved this. This
was hilarious.
This was just insane, right? Where, like you were saying, companies just getting rid of people and then going, what? So, yes, man orders 18,000 waters in drive-through. So water must be free at Taco Bell, I'm assuming. So, you know, this is the whole, when it's not thought through, bad things happen. Yeah. But then here's another thing I really loved. This 40-hour work week has just been killed. The Dutch are very clever people. It's interesting because I know that there's some businesses who do this already. They have the 32-hour week. The people that I know who do this in Sydney, they actually start at 8 till 5. So they have that extra hour for 4 days a week. So you get the 4 hours in. And they have Friday off. And if you need to get stuff done or you don't get things done, you go in on Friday. But there's normally nobody in there. And to me, this is around, again, what is the work? And I understand historical reason for our 38-hour week, because people were, or 38 hours is, but people were being worked to death. So they've put the limit. And now we go, do people need to do that many hours? And is society better for not doing it?
Well, this kind of ties into that recent productivity roundtable that the federal government hosted.
Yeah, and sprung on everyone.
Well, they need it. It's a conversation that we need to have in Australia, because our productivity has been down for a long time.
Yeah.
And one of the findings from everywhere that they pilot this shorter work week is productivity goes up.
Yeah.
So people do more in less time, which leads me to the question of, you know, and this goes back to the return to the office thing too. Yeah. How much of the time that we're in the office is actually productive work? You know, or how much of it is actually helping us with productivity. So I think we need to think about productivity differently, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. I applaud the productivity focus, because I think I agree with you. And the people that they pulled in seem to be appropriate. So they can do it. They just choose not to do it in other things. But I think to your point too, I mean, I know when I used to employ, like if I was employing an assistant or a staff member, I always employed the part-time mum, because they got stuff done, they understood flexibility, they would meet you in the middle, but they always got stuff done. And not that I expected to get a 38-hour week out of somebody who was working 18 hours, but if they were working 18 hours, my God, I got 20 hours, or they just did their 18 hours. So it is that whole thing. But like you said too, that comes down to the agency. So it's interesting, and I really want to watch it. Media literacy. We should do a whole thing on this, I know, but I just wanted to. We talked about this. I forgot to put the report in. Oh my God, Cotality report. This is based on the Cotality report. It was apparently discussed at the Productivity Roundtable, so that was very timely. Thanks, Kate. And Channel 7 did videos. Government wants to tax your spare bedroom. Like it literally, that was what was being said. Aussies louvered over spare bedroom tax. If you actually read the article, it actually doesn't mention the bedroom tax. They're saying that, the government's going to increase your taxes. But it was not, they did not raise it. It was in the Cotality report, who actually didn't also raise taxing your spare bedroom. They said maybe retirees should be, their assets should be reassessed. But this whole mountain was made out of a molehill. Friend sent me the Channel 7 clip. My God, they're going to tax your spare room. We don't have a spare room, so we're okay. And I went, this just does not sound normal. Doesn't even make sense. But let me read the report. Read the report, went, it's not really in the report. But this is this whole thing around, they're literally just making things up. They're making it about, you're going to get taxed by the government. So, yeah, I just wanted to put that in there.
And it's an important thing for social media, because pretty much we know that nobody ever clicks through. So when someone shares the headline, that's all people read. That's why I often share a headline with a snippet from the article in the post, because I know no one will ever read more than that.
Yeah.
Because people rarely click through.
Yeah. I sent a friend, I can't even remember what I sent her, and she said, are you sure this isn't clickbait? It was around the dangers around devices with kids, for her kids. And I was so offended. I was like, as if I send you clickbait. Like, do you know what? I was really pissed off with her. Because I was like, I would never do that. I'm more careful than that. But I like that idea of including the text.
Yeah, it's always important.
Like political literacy, they literally are making things up. And I do believe that one day they will all be gone. But so on that, here comes our media recommendations, Kate. So we've already spoken about
this is Nancy's absolute favourite at the moment. This is her favourite. I like it too, but it's Nancy's very favourite.
Do you know what I really loved? When he went to a lobbying event and went up to the guy, the fossil fuel guy. Did you see it? The mining guy?
Yeah.
And he got him in the end to agree that, yes, we do give the government money to make things happen for us. It was just, but the guy he did a good job of sliding out of it. But highly recommend. Amy Romenkins.
Amy's lovely. She's amazing. I love her.
The best. And she really tells it like she is. Tells it like it is. And I think I really love, I thought she was amazing at The Guardian, but I think she's fantastic now that she's with the Australian Institute. Don't you think? The Australian Institute. I think she's great. So, I really do. And she's not afraid to say it like it is. The Klaxon, our favourite, Dan put his picture in because he does really great work too, Kate, doesn't he?
He's hilarious and spot on.
Absolutely. Sunday Shot, your alternative to the insiders. America, Heather Cox Richardson, she's a historian. I've put her Substack link because I think to read, like I am trying to actually read more, and I'm trying to actually read paper, which I'm finding I have real trouble with reading books at the moment. But her YouTube channel, of course, is great, and she has great guests. But she, coming from that historical point of view, I think she's great. I think she's factual. When she speaks about something, when she goes, this is happening now, this has happened then, it really draws that line to show you that history really does repeat.
Yeah, she's great. Love her.
David Packman. So these are the American ones. he's one of the original, one of the OGs. 3 million subscribers. So you know what you were saying about media trying to be relevant and trying to get the click through. We can see that traditional media is not getting click through either in print or in their digital offers. These guys are. So it's going to be really interesting to watch how long they can justify the media spend. He's the OG. He's actually just started Chorus. Did you see that, Kate?
Yep.
So they're trying to educate people, up and coming people who are very pro-democracy, and they're trying to show them how to use their social media, how to build their messaging, how to create videos. And Wired came out last week and said that there's dark money in the left wing.
Yeah, that was that Taylor Lorenz piece.
Yeah, really, really full
It'd
of
be
untruth.
interesting to dissect that for people when we talk about America, because
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting space. And she's kind of she's been a problem. I know her. She's kind of been a problematic journalist for a while since she went out on her own. So I think it's a really interesting space. Anyway, yeah.
We have so much. We're just going to have to do a week of videos. Aaron Parnas. I love Aaron because his dad is Lev Parnas. So if you don't know Lev Parnas, he was involved in he was a Trump henchman is how they described him.
Yep.
And he was involved in the when they tried to get the Ukrainian, well, before we knew who Zelensky was, but trying to get them to say that Biden was bribing them, and then the Hunter Biden thing came in. But his dad was instrumental in that and actually went to jail, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, he was arrested in front of him.
Yeah. So, and then Aaron, who is a very smart, articulate lawyer. I don't think he's practicing anymore because I think his journalism has just taken off. Yeah. But he has really great insight. He says it like it is. No razzmatazz. All the three, Packman, Heather Cox Richardson, Cohen, Parnas, very, very straightforward people. Keith Edwards is a bit of a newbie on the block, but really also really good content. Really, really good balanced content. And I didn't deliberately put Midas Touch, even though they're coming to Australia apparently now. They've just started in Canada. I find Midas Touch since the election have been very clickbaity and very sensationalized. And for me, that's not. But if you want to check them out,
I just find their stuff a bit ordinary. And there's some other American news providers we should talk about that are slightly to the right of all of these ones.
We should add that. I can't cope with the right. But we should actually add that for balance.
No, because I'm always shouting at my screen, oh my God, I can't believe I'm agreeing with this particular right-wing outlet that is saying sensible things. And I'm like, oh my God.
But Kate, it's been really interesting. Like I've been watching because a lot of people are on holidays. So the regular podcasts have got different people coming in. And it has been very interesting to watch when they do come together and actually listen to each other and realize that they do agree on a lot of the things. Mm-hmm. It is interesting. I even sort of like Gavin Newsom, which is freaking me out.
Yeah.
So this is really important. I know we're really pushing our time, but we want to really, really say to you girls, women, men who love women, women who love women, women who really think that their health is being watched when it isn't. I believe that we need to advocate for our own health, and I believe we need to share information, and we need to, when we find things, we need to share it, and we need to make sure that we're getting things from reputable sources, not from Instagram witch doctors or TikTok witch doctors. But women's health is really important. And as I am over 35, I thought I would share this with you.
We both are over 35.
We're both over 35. Thank you, Kate. I didn't want to speak for you. But once our body starts to change and we get into our perimenopause and our menopausal age, our estrogen changes, and our estrogen is so vital for our whole body, and not just if you are going through menopause or if you've even been through menopause. There's so many great products out there that really help boost the estrogen in the way that you've got to take it. And if you speak to your GP and you've got some weird symptoms, if you're not sleeping, if you're tired, if your memory's not working, hot flushes, they're a gift from God, aren't they? But if you're having any of these things, speak to your GP. If your GP says, oh, you know what's happening to your body, you'll be fine, just hang in there for 5 years, change your GP. There are so many great integrative doctors or doctors who really understand what's happening, who do give you really great advice and great products. It doesn't have to be chemical products. There's so much great estrogen versions of what you can have that suit your body. So we really want you to really understand that your GP should be your first stop, but shouldn't be your last stop. Is that right, Kate?
One of the most important findings of recent times is when women's estrogen drops off in perimenopause and menopause, they are much more prone than men to dementia and estrogen treatment. And there are estrogen treatments that you can take even if you have cancer risk.
Yeah.
So do explore it. I do encourage people to explore it because it is such an important thing now that we're living so long, and to have a healthy
old age.
So do get onto it. I'm on it. Love it.
Well, do you know, to your point, I had a sarcoma, so I am classified that as a cancer risk patient. And my GP was like, no HRT. I wasn't, not my GP, sorry, my specialist. He said, you can't do any of that. And I get that. And I wasn't on my dance card anyway. And then when I was reading about estrogen, I had said to him, well, can I take that? Because I don't want it to drop and then have to bring it back, before it sort of becomes an issue. And he was like, yeah, speak to your GP. There's 1,000 things she can give you. Just let me know what they recommend before you take it. So, that's, as you said, thank you for saying that, because I think a lot of people go, oh no, I've had breast cancer, I can't take anything. So that's really important. And this, this idea of advocating for yourself is so, so important. And, like you're saying, to risk a heart attack, stroke, dementia, it's really, really important not to ignore the symptoms that come. I mean, Salma Blair, the actress, she has MS, 35 years old, diagnosed with MS. But for years before that, the doctors kept going, oh, it must be your hormones. You must be going through menopause early. And she was literally giving them her diagnosis. And then I don't know how she found how many doctors she had to see. Miranda Hart, who did the Miranda TV show in the UK, she's got Lyme disease. And she literally was told by doctors to get out of their room. There's nothing wrong with her after years of tests. Did find what was wrong with her, but it's so unnecessary.
Nancy, this is called medical misogyny. It's a real thing, and you just have to, if you find a doctor that's not listening to you, go to another one, and go to another one until you find one that will listen to you.
Turn the page. My thing is, I saw, when growing up, I had like one doctor, and I had the same doctor for years before I moved over this side with Jay's, like over 10 years. And I haven't had that continuity of a doctor here. And I went to doctors for 2 years complaining about my symptoms, and they were all women.
Yep.
And I was just being told, oh, you know what, you're just in your 40s. So, yeah, absolutely. Get a new doctor. So good news, because balance is important, isn't it, Kate? I love this one.
I know.
Where did you find it? So good.
Yeah. So keratin from sheep's wool can repair teeth. So it's not commercially available yet, but it's coming, I suspect. But it's they can extract the keratin from sheep's wool, and it can help teeth to remineralize, which has been the holy grail for a long time.
Do you know what I thought was funny? Because I thought, geez, Kate really is watching my phone. Last night on Instagram, and I wish I'd saved, I'll see if I liked it because I can find it in activity. This woman was saying that she repaired a hole in her tooth, and she said that she remineralized her mouth.
So typically people who talk about remineralization of teeth at the moment are talking about xylitol, which is an artificial sweetener that they...
Yeah. No, it was a very herbal solution. I wish to God I could remember.
It's typically xylitol. I'm not spying on your Instagram because I deleted my Instagram and my Facebook.
Well, I'm still in jail. Don't even talk to me. But did you know over 15 million people globally have had their Facebook accounts deleted for no reason? I'm in excellent company. I'll check out TikTok. You check out TikTok, I'll check out Instagram. But I love this because it just shows you how regenerative our bodies are if we do the right thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And of course, we're still saying join our campaign to stop this intrusive advertising. This is good news because it means that we have a voice, and together, if we use our voices together, we can make change happen. So we've come to the end, darling Kate. Always another great one with you. But we really want to connect with you. So you're going to be seeing us a lot more. We're going to be sharing a lot more stuff, folks. So please, if there's something you want us to talk about, please email us. I'll put all these links under the video. Visit the website, good stuff on there. Our link tree will show you all of our links. As you can see, we're working our way through the social media accounts and platforms. But as always, it's a pleasure sharing time with you.
Everywhere except Twitter, because we don't like Twitter anymore.
Shh, it's listening. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Nancy. Bye.
Ciao.